All right.
There, sorry about that.
Hello, Dr. Laurence Rock. No worries. We're here. See, people love you. Everybody here loves you. They're ready to listen to what you have to say, right?
That's great. Yes,
So, and we also love ourselves for being here and for also wanting to learn more about who we are.
that is a good thing. The never, the
Yes,
never-ending
yes.
process.
Yes, yes, definitely. That's what life is all about. So, thank you again for being here with us, Dr.
You're
Lawrence
welcome.
Brock. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Okay, so I'm going to start with the questions
Yep.
now for you. So, tell us about yourself. What do you do, and what are you passionate about in life?
I am passionate about everything because I don't do things that I'm not passionate about. And I guess on one end is being a dad. I have a almost 15-year-old daughter who I'm a very big part of her life. Uh, my healing work, I'm very passionate about, my spiritual work, um, exercising, eating healthy. Uh, I'm on the PTA. I like to be involved with things. I teach Sunday school. I like to do a lot of good things and help people. That's what I'm passionate about.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. And it's great that you say that you don't do anything you're not passionate about,
Yeah.
right? Because it's important for us to do the things that we are passionate about. It makes us very happy, it makes us fruitful, it makes us
Yes.
successful, right? And then we only attract to us the things that make us happy as well, right?
Yes.
So that's very important. And
It's one of those
it's
things
great too
that,
that you do your
yes. I'm laughing because
continue.
obviously certain things in life, well, sometimes doing what you're passionate about is a challenge because it it's not always the easiest road to take, but I can't be any other way. And also have a
Yes, that's
son
beautiful.
who's a very successful artist, and I look at him, he's really following his passion, and it just reminds me, it always crossed my mind, wow, that's really amazing. And then I realized, oh, yeah, it's just like me, that I follow my passion and he's following his passion. And it is definitely nice to be able to make money following your passion too, which that's kind of important.
Yes. It sure is, and then we don't get stressed out also, making money because sometimes we associate making money with hard
Yes.
work, right? With getting tired, with getting um stressed out, but that doesn't have to be the route that we're taking,
No.
right? Always find out, it's always good to find out what it is that we like and then go through there. Just go ahead and follow the path, open the ways because we have to open our ways ourselves as well,
Yes.
right?
You got to forge
Yes.
ahead
So
and follow your heart. Very important.
yes, yes, beautiful, beautiful. So, tell us about your near-death experience. What happened as a result of that?
Well, I normally don't go into the near death experience part of it that much, but was in a very bad car accident and had I guess, the proverbial or, going into the white light experience. It, in one way I could look at it, it was just really a big kick in the butt to get it together with my spiritual journey. And I've had other kicks in the butt where life is just forcing me in that direction, but obviously that was a very big one. I just noticed, and I've always been very skeptical of what I do in a certain way, in a way that I want to prove it and I want to learn, and I'm not taking it for granted ever. And even when I start to notice, well, the first thing I noticed after my hands would get warm when I touch people, and I was like, what is this, And so I started exploring that, and then started I learned massage, and I went to school. I also noticed just praying for people really helped them. But I'm always looking to learn, and yeah, I've just had met I guess the biggest thing that happened was it got me on this journey and I started meeting really amazing people that taught me amazing things and really gave me more and more skills as I've, developed over the years. That's,
Okay, that's
yeah,
beautiful. And you mentioned, that you had this kick in the butt,
yes,
right? Sometimes we're going our certain path, right? But then life tells us, hey, this is what you're causing, or this is what you're doing. And then it hits us like really hard, or it's like a wake up call,
it
right?
is.
So that's beautiful that you got that, and it made you change. And yeah, and here you are now. That's beautiful,
It's
right?
like
That you
even,
had this chance to continue on in life.
trying to explain it in words it's hard because it is I mean, looking back, it's always I see a lot of things. I mean, one thing, sort of a nicer, easier experience is it just seemed when I was younger, girls I was interested in. As I got older, women, they were into that kind of thing. And when I was before my near-death experience, I was taking a class at the local state university in Purchase, New York, and there was a young lady in the class who I thought was cute and wanted to go out with. So I started talking to her, and she told me she was taking a yoga class. So I went to the yoga class to try to connect with her. She never showed up to the class, but that's something that got me interested in yoga. So I've had a lot of life always seems to be pushing me in this direction. So, yeah,
Okay, that's
it is.
beautiful. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So, how did you discover that you had this healing abilities, and what did you feel? What did you think about it at the beginning?
Um, Well, there was part of it that was kind of thrilling, and like I said, part of it I was kind of skeptical, and um,
Yes.
so I I wish I remembered more detail, but I remember I was with someone and they hurt their calf, and I just massaged their calf a little bit, and I could feel my hands get warm, and they got better. I had another thing where I prayed for a friend's father, and I felt something happen, and he came back to me and said, his father was on his deathbed basically, and he ended up living, I don't remember exactly how long, but he even came back to me and said, I think your prayers helped. Um, the other thing that comes to mind, so shortly after that, I ended up meeting this Sufi sheikh, and I went to a workshop he was teaching, and he was like a real character. And he would always be joking around with me, and I never knew if he was messing with me or being sincere, but he said, come into my office. He didn't have an office, but he took me into this little room and he said, give me your hands. And he put his hands around mine and squeezed them. And he goes, there, you got it. And I said, what? He goes, oh, no, you didn't get it. Come here, come back again. And he squeezed my hand. He goes, now you got it. And I would have said, what are you talking about? And he would never answer my questions. But I noticed after that the heat in my hand really increased. So whatever he like transmitted to me was a whole new level of what happened during my near death.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's great, and that you are able to do that, right? And that you had that experience as
Yeah.
well. So, beside, you said that you feel a heat in your hands when you are healing people. So, what else do you feel when you're healing somebody
It
besides the
used to
heat?
be a lot more heat. Now it's some heat, but it's more a lot of shaking. Like when people start to release things, my hands start to shake. I think as I've been able to
Oh,
sort of be a vessel for this energy better, I don't feel so much heat. Like the heat is more of a resistance. Uh, I mostly work on the phone with people, but so I don't really feel that much heat, but a lot of shaking. Um, it's all of a sudden the light in the room will get brighter sometimes. So sometimes
oh
the room will
wow.
fill with colors of light. Um,
Mm.
and I, I just feel things shifting. And again, it in one way, I wish I just had one skill because it might be easier to market, but I have different skills and they become available at different times. Like some people ask me, to tell the future, and that's not what I do, but sometimes I see things very clearly. You, I think when we were talking, you mentioned
Wow.
about seeing an aura. Sometimes I see the aura. More times than not, I see the different
Okay.
energy bodies. Okay. Something I almost always see are past lives, like when I'm working with people. I also see like almost a mathematical geometric shape that shows me the person's life path. And
Okay.
a lot of things can be going on at one time. It's a lot. So,
Yeah. Okay. So that's beautiful that you are able to see all of
yeah,
that. So, it just goes to show that, distance, when it comes to energy, you can be close to somebody or you can be afar from
yeah,
somebody. They will still feel it because the energies are like that. They can be also in both places at the same time, right? When you're doing the healing
it
as
is. It's
well.
amazing. When I think about it, when I'm not doing it, it's like a miracle every time. It's very cool. So, yeah, I have
Yes,
some
yes. And
clients
so
in
the
Australia. I'm in New Jersey, and it's a different day there. Sometimes I have clients like in China and places like that. A lot of times it's a different day, and for some reason it seems extra cool. You know, thousands of miles, that's cool enough, but when it's such a big time difference, it's extra cool. I love it. So,
Okay, so that's good. So what is your most prized memory when it comes to like what somebody has said to you once when you were healing them, right? You said that one of them said, "Hey, your healing is working," right?
well,
But something that you like, huh?
yes, that happens a lot, which is I'm blessed to be able to do that. The well, sometimes the little things, like recently with two separate people, they were talking to me about business issues, and both of them got a text right near the end of the session, and they were friends. So, uh, like resolving the business issue, that was real, and the sec the second person it happened to said, "How do you do that?" I said, "Well, I just clear up the energy and then things happen." He said, "Yeah, I don't know, how do you do that?" This my friend said the same thing. So that's a little thing. The healing, um, I mean, the a few years ago when I was starting to do social media stuff, and it was around Thanksgiving, and I was looking for stuff to be grateful for, and plus looking for old emails to post online. And I read an email from this young lady who came to me. She had had a miscarriage, and her health was going downhill. The doctors basically said, forget about having a kid, never going to happen. And we're skeptical about how your health is going to be also. After two sessions, she wrote me an email saying, I don't know what you do, but the doctors say I'm getting better. And then I heard like a year later, I think a year later, from her friend who sort of forced her to come see me, that she had a baby. And that is a really cool thing, and um, that to me
Yeah.
felt really good because it was the first time I was able to really appreciate what I do. Like think, wow, that is so cool. When it was like, because when I'm doing it, I don't really get that perspective. And it is kind of like, is it my ego? Is it, it's like, as I said, I'm kind of skeptical. I want to keep proving it and stuff. And it's so magical that how could it even be happening? And it's like, well, it did happen. What's the difference how it
Yes.
happens? You know what I mean? So that was one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had sometimes people just get better like that in a second, and that's always cool. Sometimes the little things. I was talking to someone recently, and they were just really having a hard time with something, and they were talking and talking, and I try to be patient and listen to people because it's polite, but I can see it's about something else. And to this person, I said, "Well, what's up with your sister?" And they just said, "Oh yeah," and blah, and then they said, "Whoa, I feel better." because there was something, it's a little thing, and they just felt balanced. But it's also rewarding, and when I think about it, it's like, wow, that's like it's just so cool. I don't know how else to say it. So,
Yes, that's beautiful, and it's good that your skill have expanded also to helping people have babies,
yeah,
right? So, and yeah, it does feel good when we're doing something and the universe shows us, yes, this thing is working. It makes us feel good and it makes us expand on it even
yes,
more, right? Our curiosity gets bigger and we just want to get into it because it makes us feel so good
it,
when we're doing
that's
what we
true.
like
Yeah,
and we see results.
I know you mentioned about what do I
Yes,
do to develop, and so I do meditate, I do Tai Chi, I do journal writing, I do, exercise every day, and I forgot what I was going to say. But
yes,
it
it's
is, oh,
okay.
I remember. So you're saying the part of feeling good, like people say to me, oh, you're so disciplined. The truth is, it just feels so much better. It just feels good. That is such a driving force, definitely.
Yes, yes, I was able to see that you're disciplined because you say, you have your certain time and your certain amount of time actually for meditation,
Yeah.
that you don't want to play with that time. That's
No.
important for you and your other stuff too. I respect that. I love that. And I congratulate you for that as well.
Well,
That you're
like I
so
said,
disciplined in that way and that you take your work.
yeah,
Yes,
I just don't feel good if I don't do it. So it is very important to
yes,
do also. It helps. Plus, I take keeping myself energetically clear very seriously. So meditating
yes.
I mean, I
Mhm.
meditate for a pretty long time and do other exercises. I also check with someone else to who does what I do once a week to check me to make sure that I'm clear because it's sometimes you can't see your own stuff. It's sort of set up that way.
Mhm.
That's very, very important.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So, walk us through your healing session. Like when you first starting to talk to the person, what is it that you tell them when you're beginning, before you begin your healing session? What do they need to do before, probably? And yeah, walk us through the whole process, and then also what it is that you tell them after the healing, right? So that, or whatever it is that they can practice after the healing.
Do, well, if it's, did I just, are you hearing me? I'm not hearing
Yes, I
you.
can hear you.
Okay. Well, when I first work with someone, I ask them if they've ever done anything like this before. A lot of times people call me because their friend sort of, or their spouse or whatever, forced them to talk to me. And so I
Mm-hmm.
tell them just, that I tell them they'll tell me what's going on, that I might interrupt them and say, no, I'm going to talk to you about something else. I also tell them I'm going to say take a big breath sometimes, and that's to breathe in through your mouth and out through your mouth. It really varies what I see. Like I said, I almost always start to see
Okay.
past life things because I think that's where most patterns
Mm-hmm.
begin from. Um, but
Yes.
like sometimes the tone of the session is very medical. Sometimes it's more, I'm really best at talking psychological. I also work with a lot of business people, so there's business stuff. Um, but
Yeah.
it really can, for me, the part is just keep my mind very open and flexible. And I talk about like being very soft in your thinking and let the information come. You let it come. Like our mind wants to go to it right. Oh, I know that. No, you keep waiting, you keep waiting, you keep waiting. There's also a part there is a master of some sort that says things to me sometimes, and I've learned to listen because it gets very persistent if I don't. Um, it's a cute little, there's all sorts of cute stories because it'll just all of a sudden I'll hear this word and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And then it always has something to do with the healing. So, like with that guy with the sister, the voice said, the sister. So I know if I didn't say sister soon, the voice would just start saying, say sister, say sister, say sister. And then, so, um,
Okay.
yeah,
So it seems like you're also clairaudient.
yes,
It seems like you're also clairaudient,
yes.
right?
So my
That's awesome.
initial skill
That's
was
awesome.
touching with the hands, and I've developed the seeing and hearing and knowing part. That was sort of secondary. So,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
beautiful that you're able to, and also to listen when you're listening to this word, that you are taking action immediately, right?
Well,
Because even for us, like regular folks, we have this news, this thing that comes to us, but we don't take action, so it just goes
yes,
away.
right. Yeah.
We let opportunity pass.
That's part of developing those skills. You need to, if you're going to ask for the information, you need to listen to it because it will stop. So, well,
Yeah.
I usually,
Yes.
but not too long ago, I was talking to someone and the voice said ice cream. And it was so far off from what we were talking about. And then it would say, then it
Ice
says
cream.
ice cream. And then a little while, ice cream. Then it starts saying ice cream, say ice cream, just say ice cream, just say ice cream. So my clients are used to it. So I said, I have to pause you. I'm hearing ice cream. And the person just started crying and laughing because she had
Oh.
a fight with her boyfriend in the morning about ice cream, basically. So
Oh.
yeah, it's a cute little
Okay.
story, but it is like you're saying, you got to listen if you're going to start asking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the the spirit and the masters and the angels to start giving you information. Um, you They will respect whatever you do. So if you do nothing, they will respect
Yes.
you doing nothing. If you start
Mm-hmm.
using it, they will
Yes.
respect you using it and really be there for you. So that's cool.
Yes, yes, I see that. They're very patient and loving, and they say things like very softly. They're not demanding,
Right.
so I've noticed that about them.
They can.
Yeah, not controlling at all.
Yeah. Right.
Huh?
The positive ones they follow the rules. The
Yeah.
negative ones sort of step over the line a bit a lot of times, and they'll look for
Yes, they do.
any opening. So that's yeah.
Thank you for clearing that out. That yes, the positive ones, the ones that, are following the rules and are knowledgeable, they have self knowledge and stuff like that and love themselves. They will treat others as they do treat themselves. But those, just like humans too, the humans that love themselves and understand themselves, they will not push themselves on somebody
Right.
else. So the angels that love themselves, they do that. But those that are doesn't love themselves and are ignorant about
Yeah.
self, don't know, then they will treat people wrong and push people to do this. And yeah, so so that's good that you were able
So
to
yeah. So
explain that. I want to open. What did you
in the
say?
spirit, it's the same thing. The negative spirits are don't respect those rules quite as much. So
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. If anybody has any questions for Dr. Brooke, you may go ahead and do so in comments. And okay. So when it comes to healing, what is your most prized memory? Like, what is the one of your healing sessions that make you that you still cannot like forget? You made a great impact in your life,
yeah.
let's say.
At this woman, I actually met her in a social situation, and she had a session with me, and it was a very cool thing because she had arthritis through her whole body. And when she started working with me,
Mm-hmm.
I saw there was an Indian healing guide with her, or healing master. I don't even know exactly what,
Oh
but like
wow.
American Indian. And she was talking, and I was being patient, because I've learned to cut people off, but I like to be polite. So when she finished, I said, "You have this American Indian healing guide with you." And she said, "Oh, I know. Someone told me about it." But I could tell by her tone of voice she was kind of afraid. And I just said to her, "This
Yeah.
guide is there to help you." And I could hear in her tone of voice and see
Mm-hmm.
what I see. And like that, she goes, "Whoa, I feel better." And she had been in pain for like 3 years. So that's that's like a really
Wow.
cool story, right? So, I mean, I have,
Okay. Well, she was fortunate to have that.
yes.
Uh-huh.
I guess another one, I was treating this woman. This one, I had an office in Manhattan, and I also would use these electronic devices that some people would just come to me for that, and they didn't know about the spiritual part. So she was one of those people. I was treating her, and she started to say, I feel weird. She felt weird, and I said, That's okay. We're trying to get you healthy. You're very used to being sick. Healthy is going to feel weird. And when you get, the process of getting healthy. Then she said, I feel really weird. And I could see she started to perspire. She turned pale white. And
Oh
so I
wow.
took the device off her. She actually blacked out. And, part of me was so nervous, like, what's going on? But then I saw this, like a demonic form leaving her body. And then,
Wow.
so I poured some water in her mouth. She came to, she ran to the bathroom. She had diarrhea and, threw up and everything. And then she came out and, I was wondering if she was even going to come back the next week, but she did. And then I was wondering, should I tell her what happened? I did tell her, but she
Mm-hmm.
looked so much healthier that that was a big motivation for her to come back. I explained to her, and it was kind of funny because she said she was basically okay with what I described because of some things she had seen on sci-fi shows on TV. And so the whole spirit thing, and I
Mm.
thought that was kind of cool. But then her husband came in, and I was explaining how people take on negativity from people and can get curses and things like that inadvertently from other people. He just had a really, I
Yes.
remember very what he said because he said, "Can people inadvertently get blessings from other people?" And I said, "Yes." So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was very sharp
Yes.
of him, and it was all new to them. So it was, but anyway, seeing that form and then just, I mean, she was so much healthier. That part was again, very cool.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's exciting that you were able to see that coming out.
yeah,
Yeah. And yes, energy, we can take either negative or positive energy from beings or, other
yes,
people and whatnot. So it does go both
it
ways.
definitely does.
Yeah.
So,
So I have here, um, Jill is asking questions. Her name is Jill Callett. She's asking you if you remember her.
yes,
But
I do remember her.
yes, and then she's saying that she's also a healer. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you, Jill, for commenting. Raleigh says discipline is a must being a healer. Very important. Glad to know I am not the only one that cherishes the things. She
That's
says.
good.
Um, yeah, and then I have somebody. Her name is Rachel. She says that she's in pain. Rachel, if you can book Dr. Laurence Brock. Once tomorrow you can contact him, or maybe tonight just give him a message. But probably tomorrow will be better so that he can see you.
Yeah, that's
Um,
probably the best to do.
yeah.
But I can send some light to
Yes.
her. There, I there's some stuff about her diet.
There goes the light.
Yeah.
You set the light and there's the
Oh, I see. My
light.
computer light went off. Okay. Um,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, beautiful.
Go ahead.
Okay, so okay, so you already practically answered all my questions here,
Okay.
right? Because you can see the auras on the people, you can see if there's spirits around them,
Yes.
so that's already covered. Um, so yeah, everyone. Also, if you and even if you're watching the replay of this live, if you would like to interview Dr. Laurence Brock, you may do so. He's available for that. And also, if you want to book him for healing, he's also available for that. So, Dr. Brook, you can tell the people, while we're
Yes.
talking, where they can find you, right?
Yeah,
Your
my
website and whatnot.
website is
Dr. Brock.
lawrencebrock.com, and my phone number you can text or call 732 or email me at docbrock. That's DOCBROCK at lawrencebrock.com. Or
Okay,
on
awesome.
Facebook, Lawrence Brock is there is a Dr. Brock Lawrence Brock Facebook page, but my personal page is better to get me. Sometimes I don't seem to get the notices on the Dr. Brock one. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, awesome. So again, if anybody has any questions, uh, you may go ahead and do so. Jill says love and light. Well, she says thank you. And then she says love and light to everybody,
That,
to
that,
everyone. Love and light to you as well, Jill. Thank you so much.
that's a good thing.
Let's see if somebody else says something else here. All right. And again, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask you guys. Is there anything else you would like to add,
Uh,
Dr. Brock?
um, yes, I get so. Well, one thing that comes up is I try to work also with, I guess, what I'm going to call normal people that are like I do a lot of work in schools, and so that becomes a little less metaphysical and more mindfulness and breathing stuff, and trying to introduce that to kids, stress reduction techniques that anyone would be open to. I'm a big believer in that. Um, Actually, I'll put a little plug in because tomorrow, this is only for people around here at Rita's Ice Cream of Union Beach. The PTA is having a fundraiser between 4 and 7 p.m. So go buy ice cream there. Um, yeah,
Okay.
it is really important to be of service to people, to do good things.
Yes.
Helping children is just something, partially because I have children, that's really dear to my heart. Years ago, a friend said this thing, 100% advocacy for kids. And that really inspired me for the times you know, I don't want to go to the PTA meeting. Partially, I'm the only man there, and it's, but taking that step and then for myself too, 100%. I'm going to put it out. I'm going to do what's in my heart. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to, and stick to what I know. And, um, sometimes I work with very smart, very successful people, and I have to tell them what I see that's different from what they say. Like, how do you tell someone that? But it's really sticking to what I know in my heart. And, you know,
Okay.
that's really so important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Raleigh says, I love it. We need this to become normal.
Well, I can tell you it's way more normal now than it was years ago, that's for sure. And I get to work with some professional athletes, which is really cool. And it's, again, I keep saying cool because it's this feeling that's so awesome, these adverbs and adjectives, but professional athletes are really open to anything that they feel can give them the edge up. So there's one NFL player who, I mean, you'd see him on the field, you'd be afraid, this really big, but that he's into this kind of stuff that is a sign of the times changing. Also, it used to be
Mhm.
almost all my practice was women, and now it's about 50-50. So it's definitely come a
Okay.
long way. Um, yeah, so and I get to go, I go to school. I have a doctorate, which they love in schools, but I get to go to my daughter's high school, and the counselors and the principal, and they listen to me, and they really admire what I'm talking about, and they're really trying to integrate positive psychology and mindfulness and meditation into the school. It's very cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's beautiful. Yeah, we do need that in the schools. Sometimes the children, their mind, because they have so much energy, they're like all over the place. Like there is no like definition or order. But mindfulness, like meditation and all that
yeah,
stuff, that helps them calm down and it helps them also become better students, doesn't
it
it?
does, and it really does, and um, yeah, so I love those, like I said, the more normal people. It's kind of cool. They're just very open to it. again, people are open to succeeding, and so they're business people. I mean, I work, you'd be surprised, on the outside how people look so, uh, normal. Like I don't, it's obviously this is normal, and
I
you know,
understand.
using these
I know what.
these more modern techniques and new age, and I don't even like to label them because everyone has an issue with the labels, but um, yeah, I was talking to someone today who's a business person, and he was trying to say, so I asked him to write a testimonial, partially because he's also an author, and he said, well, what do you want me to say? Like, what do you call yourself? And I said, I don't even know what I call myself. That's why I'm asking you to write testimonials, because that's really describes it much better. So he was trying to come up with some words to describe what I do, and I've never been able to figure that out. So, yeah,
Okay. Okay. So awesome. Jill is asking, this is going to be our last question for tonight,
okay.
I think. Um, can you define mindfulness in this sense? She's asking.
Yeah, well, yes. Mindfulness is basically focusing on your breathing. That's a pretty simple explanation. So the way you use mindfulness is you focus on your breathing, which is you focus on your nose or your mouth, or your whichever one you're breathing in and out of, or your chest or your abdomen, whichever one is moving when you're breathing. Or sometimes you can uh, focus on more than one. And when your mind wanders off to whatever it is, then when you think of it, go back to focusing on your breathing. That's what mindfulness is in
Okay.
a nutshell. If you look on my YouTube channel,
Oh,
there's a 5 minute mindfulness meditation that I actually made for students to use. So it talks about homework and teachers, but it could be your boss, your spouse, your work, whatever your mind goes to, you just bring it back to your breath. That's what mindfulness is. Pretty simple.
okay. That sounds very, very good. And then Arali says, I teach my 2-year-old how to meditate. Yes, very important.
Yeah,
That's good. And I congratulate you for that,
that is a good thing. And
Araldi.
there's lots of fun meditations for kids to do. Uh, so yes, my daughter is 14 and she has, brought up with this stuff and it's very helpful for her. It's a good thing. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so there's, I mean, so many magical things. One, it's kind of so before I was doing this to make a living, I was in a family electrical contracting business. And I use this story because it's just a really good example how some of these tools work. And it's kind of, again, I like the funny, cute stories. But I was getting sick of it because a lot of it was just electrical contracting is very much about business and, a lot of times struggling with men about money. Um, so I'd started doing polarity therapy as a hobby, and I want to shift my career over to that. So I did what I wrote out called an inner ideal image about what I wanted to create. And I did that, and there's some
Mm,
exercises to do to reinforce it. And I often tell people write what comes to you and stop worrying about how our mind comes in and censors it. So I had this thing, again, it's a kind of a cute story. I wanted a lot of pretty women to come see me. And right away, my mind comes in and goes, no, that's wrong. You're doing this spiritual thing. What's wrong with you? But I knew I'm supposed to write down what comes to me. So I wrote it down. I did these exercises. A few months after I did these exercises, I met this woman who was a manicurist for all the high fashion magazines in Manhattan, and she started sending these models to me. So for about 3 years, when my practice first
okay.
opened and my practice took off, I was able to support myself in a very short time. All, model. The 90% of my practice was models, and it was it's a very stressful job. Obviously it's very glamorous, but it's a very hard job. So I was helping a lot of people, and I like that. Again, it's kind of a quirky little story of how the believing in yourself and believing and really going for it and trusting that the spirit comes in however you can allow it. You know, whatever information you're getting where that magical, happiness feeling comes in, that's the spirit speaking to you. And when you can go with it and trust yourself beyond our mind coming in, beyond the rules in society, beyond, the time when our parents were telling us to be quiet, what's in our heart, when we can follow that, it's really magical.
Yes. Thank you for telling us that beautiful, priceless
Yeah,
information. Yes, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you a
you're
lot,
welcome.
Dr. Lawrence Brock, for being with us today. And thank you, everybody, for being with us as well. So you can go ahead if you would like to say your website again so that people can, if they missed it earlier,
Okay,
so that they can find you and then we'll be done.
great. So it's www.laurencebrock.com. My, I assume underneath this, my name's going to be written there. So it's LaurenceBrock, all one word, .com.
Okay,
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank,
Thank you, Dr. Brock and Dr. Brock, and yeah, have a good night, everyone.
same to you. I have to figure out how to hang up, right?
Likewise, thank you. Oh, don't worry,
You'll
I'll
do,
do it
okay.
from here. Don't
Bye,
worry.
thanks. It was great.